Ferrari will be looking for a much more competitive weekend this time out at the Hungaroring, as they now look to introduce the Barcelona specification of upgrades back onto the SF-24. But the team aren't going into it with their eyes closed. They have a plan B in case they incur the bouncing issues in high-speed corners, which first came to light back in Barcelona. Now the team are very much hopeful that the bouncing and porpoising in which this latest specification of upgrades had incurred on the SF-24 won't be around for this particular weekend. And that comes after shifting through all of the data and hopefully for their sake thinking that they found a particular setup window from which to run the new specification of upgrades to not introduce the bouncing, which was first seen in Barcelona and continued on into the next couple of rounds of the Formula 1 Championship. The double-edged sword with the Spanish Grand Prix upgrade package in which they introduced is one of this. So while the overall downforce and load levels are a lot better on the current package, which they haven't been running, the issue is that it incorporates high speed bouncing in those particular sets of speed ranges of corners. And of course, the reason they know that this Barcelona package is the one they need to figure out and fix is because of all the data. And we have a lot of data to back that up, which was gathered across the Silverstone weekend, having run back-to-back tests there with the Imola and Spain upgrade packages respectively. And as you can see on the screen right now, we have one snapshot of both SF-24 packages from the British Grand Prix weekend at Silverstone. Now, Charles Leclerc was running the Spain upgrade package while Sainz was running the Imola package. Now, while you may look at this data and not think that's a significant issue, let me explain why it is. Now, you don't want to be focusing in on the lap time loss over the two packages, or that the new package is 1 kilometer an hour slower than that of the old one. The biggest takeaway and the issue from all of this is to do with the amount of throttle in that corner between the two specifications of SF-24. With Leclerc and the new package being 35% less on the throttle in that corner, you're giving away lap time and you're not using the peak performance that is in this package because of the bouncing in the mid-corner phase of it. And this is where all the major issue is. So if you think about it, and this is across every single speed range of corner, what makes you go quicker through a corner, particularly in Formula 1, is being able to be on the throttle for as long as you can in a given corner. And with Leclerc, with the new package, being off the throttle for 35% more, naturally, speed is being scrubbed off in the mid-corner phase of this corner and through all the high-speed corners. So the car is being slowed, you're not on the throttle, so you're just not getting the drive out of that corner and you're just losing the lap time as a result. So while when you compare to this data the two times and there's a minimal difference, the biggest issue is it's the peak performance of the new package is not being able to be utilized in high speed corners, and they're probably losing between 1 and 2 tenths in the high speed corners as a result. And so even though the packages through these corners look very similar and there's no issue, there actually is. And that's the takeaway from this data you should be taking. And that's the big issue that Ferrari have when it comes to the next event at the Hungaroring. The Hungaroring is once again very much a high-speed circuit with a lot of high-speed corners on it and not a lot of straights. So you're spending the majority of your time in the lap completely in all the corners. There's no time to breathe. You're overheating the tires, overstressing them, and that's another key point. The bouncing induced a lot of excessive tire wear, and with the tires being on such a knife edge this particular season, even on qualifying laps, that means that the team are having to run the cars in a sense suboptimal in which they would be accustomed to when it comes to qualifying. Normally the teams and drivers would be looking to heat the tyres up and get, thermal heat into the tyres in preparation for a push lap in qualifying. They're now having to do the opposite, in which they're going around at minimal speed, not putting any stress on the tyres, not putting any thermal heat into them, as to make sure that when they start the lap, they're not going to end it having overheated the tyres and lose a heap of time in that final third sector of the Hungaroring, because this track is exceptionally difficult on tyres. And that's what we've been seeing all season long, actually. Not just what we'll see this weekend, but it's happened at all previous weekends. If you've paid attention, you'll notice that a lot of the teams and drivers respectively are always tiptoeing around on the outlap. And what's going to happen is, if Ferrari can't get on top of the bouncing, all of the high speed corners and all of the bouncing through them is just going to overstress and overheat the tyres. And by the time they probably get to sector 3, the tyres are going to be absolutely worn out and they're going to lose a heap of time in practically the space of 3 corners in that final sector. And so I actually envisage Ferrari having to revert back to the Imola package, as I don't think setup changes or a mix and match of parts from both the Imola and Barcelona spec upgrades are going to come together and be able to piece and solve this issue of bouncing. And that's how I see Ferrari's weekend unfolding. Well guys, that's the video. Hope you've all enjoyed it. If you have, of course, do leave a like on it, as it helps to push it in the algorithm. If you have any comments, leave it down below as well. And of course, if you're new and have just found this channel through this video and you've enjoyed what you've seen, hit the subscribe button down below, turn on notifications as well. Right guys, I will catch you all in another Formula 1 video later this week.